I know all about it. I know all about a lot of contract killings.
What happened? Like, what was your exact experience that night?
My experience is this. I was contracted to go down there to kill 2 Arkansas State police officers that were stealing drops. They had stole up to $2 to $4 million is what I was told. And so to make that kind of money, I would have done it. I did it. I'm guilty. But that's not the way it happened, you know. There ended up being, I was there at the drop site. The drop landed. Other witnesses said the same thing, corroborated exactly what I said 30 years after. Witnesses came forward and said they seen the kids being beat up by a couple of cops, taken back where the area by the tracks. The drop was right by or near the tracks, maybe 100 feet, 120 feet. Went to the tracks, were on the tracks using the phone when we seen the kids. Kids took out. The cops took off. The 2 cops that were involved in the drops took out after them, brought them back, and they'd been beaten with flashlights. And they were over the shoulders of the 2 cops. The cops dropped them by the railroad tracks. I was up on the tracks, and I didn't do it, but I was there, so I'm an accomplice. It doesn't make no difference. They took and threw him up on the track. And I got on the phone and I talked to Bill Clinton at the time he was governor. And so...
So why were the kids were just accidental witnesses? Is that the issue with the kids?
That's right. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I guess they were deer spotlighting. And so I said, these are just young kids. One kid was already dead. One kid was already beaten to death. And Kevin Ives was a kid that was alive, and he said, don't want to leave no witnesses. I said, well, it was a clean drop. I said, there was nothing taken at the drop site. And so I didn't want the kid to get killed. And one of the cops took the butt of the rifle and butted him in the back of the head and split his head. Boom, I just split him right in 2, killed him instantly. Threw him up on the tracks by the hair and the crotch. They were handcuffed behind their back when they came back. And then I was told, and I did, put him between the tracks. I say between the tracks, it's been a cross between, I don't know, 30 years ago. But the tracks...
You didn't actually see them put the kids on the tracks?
I helped put the kids on the tracks. No, I was there.
Okay.
I helped. You know, and that what you said was a green tarp. It was a tarp that was put over them so they'd be hidden when the train came by. I guess at 4:30, a train came by and ran over them. And they said they fell asleep because of, like you said, pot. Had nothing to do with pot. You know, they were already dead. They'd been murdered. They didn't move. They tooted the horn. Boom. You know.
So that's why the police weren't killed?
That's why the police weren't killed, because they had nothing to do with it. They lied about it. They were stealing they were stealing from the government. Stealing from Clinton.
So why were you going to kill the police? You said that
because they lied about it. All the guys, the inside cops that were there were the ones that were stealing. They saw me there and they were freaked out. Who's this guy? Because I was under a mask and gloves. I didn't tell you that. And then I was there with the sheriff, Sheriff Steed and I. So they were wondering who the hell is this? So they couldn't steal any money that day.
Yeah. On
the drop. And those drops, sometimes there's $2 million cash and $2 million in coke. It just depends on what they drop. It's in Alexander, Arkansas. So
who was making the drop, though?
The drops were made by, there's drops all over the place. It comes out of Mena, Arkansas, and Colombia, over in Central America.
Yeah.
And it was the Contra era, Iran-Contra, you know.
But where did they drop it?
They dropped it, there was an open field in Alexander's where they dropped it that night.
Yeah.
And they were dropping, I guess the drops were like every 2 weeks, every month, I'm not really sure in Alexander, but they were being stole.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to happen again. So they were really watching the site. That's when I was there, sent down there, and I was going to beat the 2 guys to death with my bare fist with gloves.
You were sent down there with who?
Clinton. Yeah.
But you didn't?
Governor Clinton.
He talked to you directly?
I talked to him directly.
and hooking you up. So you went down there by yourself?
I went down there by myself after I wrestled King Kong Bundy in Detroit, Michigan. And the guys have tried to say, oh, no, he wrestled the 23rd or 22nd. No, I didn't. I did not wrestle. It's not on any card. I didn't wrestle till the 28th because my gym opened the 13th of September. I know exactly what happened. It's documented. Anybody can look it up.
So you were paid to go there to kill whoever was stealing the
That's
drugs.
correct. That's
so
right.
You didn't know if it was police. You didn't know
I didn't care
who it was.
I didn't care who it was at that time.
You were there by yourself.
Yes.
And then you randomly saw these police.
Yes. Well, I had met them before. I had been down there in '86, and I went to the Rose Law Firm.
Yeah.
And that was it. Rose Law Firm is Hillary Clinton's law firm that she was a part of, partner into. And so I met all the guys, and they were, starstruck a little bit with the wrestling and all that stuff. We wrestled in Little Rock, I think, but very little in Arkansas, Louisville, stuff like that we did, Kentucky.
Still doesn't really ever come to Arkansas.
Yeah, it just very rarely does. But they knew who I was and the muscle and all that stuff. I'd been around the dope game for a long time. 84 is when I first met Clinton in 82.
So did the police that you're saying killed the kids, if they didn't know you were going to be there, how did you come about to help them?
Well, it was a secret for 30 some years. I mean, I was going to open my mouth.
No, but like that night, if you were by yourself and nobody knew you were going to be there other than the person that contracted you, how did you end up helping the police put the kids on the tracks? Because you said nobody came to steal the drop.
Right. No, we went to the tracks after the drop. The drop was made and there was nothing stole.
Okay.
If someone was going to steal the drop, then the cops were going to take the guys back. I wasn't going to do anything.
So the cops were involved with it.
Oh, they were involved with everything.
But they didn't drop you there, right?
No, I was in the Sheriff Steve's patrol car, and I was filming the drop. I didn't tell you that. Filming the drop, and nothing was stole. Everybody got out and said, "Who's this masked guy?" And no one said that. He goes, "He's Bill Clinton's guy." So I went back and forth. They met me, and they were all confused. And that's why everybody started going towards the tracks, because they wanted to call Clinton up.
Yeah.
And so when we all went to the tracks, got up on top of the tracks, and there was these kids, and there was a gunshot too. And they took off running, and then
But they did have a gun, but the gun was never recovered that the kids had, right?
The gun, they showed it. It was a rifle. It was a rifle shot.
For hunting or something.
Yeah, it was never recovered, but I actually seen it myself, because I've been the one to put it alongside.
So you didn't see the kids. The cops, you're saying, ran and got the kids, cuffed them.
I don't know what they did to the kids, except the flashlights were all bloody. Yeah. And it was very dark, humid. It was August 23rd, so it was very humid. And the flashlights were on the kids, and so you could see the blood was everywhere. And then they just threw them on the tracks, and it was my job to. Well, I had no weapon, so these guys are all armed. Well, I'm going to get shot to death, or I helped them.
Help. Were you paid?
I still got paid $50,000. That was the deal, and I got paid.
Now you're saying all of this publicly. Aren't you concerned either that if the police investigated this or someone investigated this now and your connection came with this, you could go to jail?
Well, sure, go to jail, could be killed very easily. That's why I'm saying there's nothing, you want to go back in a guy's memory. I went and talked to Linda Ives, who I went down there twice. There was nothing like to gain or lose. This has been on the news down there in Arkansas.
Yeah,
ABC.
I saw the news.
I mean,
but why would you come out about it?
Conscience, man. Conscience, my conscience. I have a heart. I miss my son. I was a very, very, I've had really a kind of a screwed up life. A lot of it is my own fault. But I would never kill a kid. But, I have taken people out. And I've done contracts and broken legs. I've done a lot of bad things, and I'm not afraid to get into that. But I don't want to be the only one that goes down with this. And I admitted that I was there. I even admitted to the names on who was there. I mentioned Clinton, and there's all these other guys I'm on record with. And the reason I said that, because if I don't mention names, okay, they would have killed me instantly. And, I said, well, are you scared? Well, have I ever been scared? Fuck no.